Hello, and welcome back to High and Tight on GameTimeCT, the high school baseball podcast. I'm Scott Ericson. We are joined, as always, by Pete Paguaga. Pete, how you doing, buddy?
Good. I got to go to Ward Staples yesterday. What a great game for August 10th. Yeah, August 10th, April 10th. Austin Howard for Ward, Hero Wide for Staples. It was a really, really good game. Two teams that we're going to see again. I mean, they play in the regular season, but they're probably the two favorites in the FCAC. They're probably two of the favorites in Double L. So this is chapter one of what could be a handful of matches. Was it soccer? A handful of games between these programs. And even if it's not Wyatt going for Staples, they got guys, Zajac. If it's not Howard for Ward, could be Polly, could be Dowd, could be Patty. So we're going to see these teams again. So I was really excited. It was nice to see chapter
What was
one.
the scout situation there?
I think there was four scouts from MLB teams. A little light. But Hero, I mean, he was great. The scouts were asking about Howard. Yeah, I felt like the smartest person in the room because Howard's a sophomore, and all these scouts are like, "Oh, who is this kid? Like, do we know if he's committed anywhere?" And I'm like, "Actually, he's committed to Louisville. I know a thing or two." And they looked at me. I was like, "Oh, sorry."
Like, be quiet, dude.
Yeah, they're like, "Just go."
Yeah, I saw some of the video that you guys posted, you and Will, and I read Will's story, and I know we're gonna have a feature on Hero coming up. So, from what I understand, he looked great yesterday,
he looked awesome.
He looked great. So
he looked mature, composed, even when he battled. I mean, that tells you a lot about a guy who can dominate, and then when he can't dominate, is he still able to get out of innings, shut down rallies, move past, battle through. I mean, he went a complete game, first complete game of his high school career. I think he only threw like 90 pitches, 89 pitches, 74% for strikes in both of his starts. He's got 24 strikeouts this year. I mean, only 2 walks. I mean, he is night and day from what he was last year, and it's really incredible to see because a lot of kids come in with hype. They're committed here, they're committed there, they're committed everywhere. And, to see it kind of come together, it was really cool to watch. And the Howard kid from Ward is phenomenal as well.
Yeah, two really good teams. Two teams we expect to be top 10 teams all season. Two teams we expect to compete for the Double L championship. These teams are going to beat up each other a little bit this year, especially in the FCAC. Like, there's some really good teams in the FCAC and the SEC this year. And they're just going to knock each other around from time to time, and that's just the way it's going to be. And there's going to be some good teams that don't even make the FCAC playoffs this year, that end up in the States and making runs, because I think that league is really, really talented this year. I think the SEC is really talented too. So I think between the two of them, it's going to be great. And then the CCC also, I think, has some really good players. We're going to talk to Southington coach, our guest this week, Stan Switala. He's very outspoken on Twitter. He's been there for 2 seasons. We really like Coach Stan, and I think he's doing great things up there at Southington. So we're excited to talk to him later in the show. But first, you want to talk about this poll that's coming out today? It came out. It's already out.
Already out. We're recording Tuesday afternoon.
Are you shaking your head?
Yeah, I don't like it.
That's right.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
As I was doing it, I was like, Pete's going to be annoyed with almost every aspect of this.
I am so mad about this. One of the things I'm not mad about is we can't really control the dates and everything like that. So it's just going to happen in terms of games being played Monday are not going to affect the voting. That's something we're just going to have to get past.
Count. Yeah.
That's not what I'm upset about. What I am upset about, 3 games, right? It's a week. It's baseball. This isn't the football poll. I feel like a broken record. I say this every year. It's like, you got to sit and wait. Like, I think I made one adjustment from my preseason poll. I still believe that these teams are good. Coaches aren't, they're not playing at 100%. Their starters are going 4 innings. They're going 5 innings. They're going 3 innings. They're working them up. They're giving 50, 60 pitches. They're not, throwing them for 110 in a game in April. Right? Right. We had the belief, you had the belief in your preseason poll. We're doing crazy stuff. We collectively as the voter. And I'm not saying that these teams don't deserve it and they could be here at the end of the year. I just think it's too early to tell. I mean, Staples drops from 4 to 6 because they lost on a walk-off to Fairfield Prep, who has like 13 Division I guys. And then that Fairfield Prep team that beat Staples falls out of the poll. Like, yeah, I mean, what are we doing?
I kind of understand why Prep fell out of the poll because, you're 1-2, 1-3. So people just will move you down. People see that Xavier beats Ward, so they want to move them up. I get it. I don't have a major problem with that. It's just the sliding around that's kind of weird. It's like Ward's got. Now, look, I'll tell you that Ward is the number one team again. And both their losses are one-run games. The game yesterday, they had to come, Staples had to come back in the last inning and rally. They were down 2, right?
They were down 2. Inning. Yeah, they scored 3 in the final inning with 1 out.
So, like, baseball is like, baseball can come at you like that. And it doesn't mean that Ward's not really good. Ward's really good. Hey, guess what? Fairfield Prep's really good too. And they're going to be there, we think, at the end of the season. Like last year, you could have said Notre Dame, West Haven, 0-4. And you kept saying all season, hey, this team's pretty good. This team's pretty good. And guess what? They made it to the state semifinals. They were pretty good. Yeah. And guess what? They're pretty good again, and they barely got any votes this week.
I was the only one who voted for him in the preseason.
Now, look, it's really hard to vote this time of year. It's really hard. You're not 100% about what teams have, who's going to pitch well, who's going to hit well, who's going to step up. So Guilford gets in the top 10 this week because they walked off Law, and Law was number 10 before that. Is Guilford going to end up being better than Law in the long run? I don't know. Who knows? But they're number 10 now. St. Joe's hasn't lost, so they moved into number 9. St. Joe's is playing Woodland this weekend. Let's go see how they do against Woodland. I don't know if they're going to face Belcher on Saturday. Probably not, but let's see how they do when they play that game and when they get into the teeth of their FCX schedule, which has been difficult the last couple seasons. And
it's weird.
We talked about, and you have to look at schedules. You have to look at schedules too. Like Ward played the hardest schedule of any team in the state so far. I don't think you can argue against that, right? Like Bethel, Newtown, Xavier, Amity, Staples. Doesn't get much better than that.
No.
So do I vote for them ahead of Ludlow, who's 3-0 and maybe didn't play as many good teams? I do.
No.
I look at that stuff. But I don't know if everybody does.
No, I just think
I know
baseball,
I know that everybody does not.
It's just with me with baseball, it's a wait and see. We talked about it last time. Ward lost to Ridgefield. Ridgefield lost 2 games in the same week. I still voted Ward won, even though they lost to Ridgefield. Yeah. It was a close game. It was a 1-run game. They both had their aces on the hill. And then Ward lost another game without their ace on the hill. And it's like, well, how do you value that? And for me, it's who do I think is going to be there at the end of the year? And with baseball, it's a wait and see. I mean, I can't put too much crazy stuff on games in April. We saw it last year with Prep. I think they finished the year on an 11-game win streak before they got bounced in the state tournament. Like, I'm pretty sure Prep skyrocketed all the way up to 1 or 2 or 3 in the last poll before the state tournament because they won the SEC. So, as much as
until we hit May, that first week of May, then we can really take stock of where teams are. Like, look, these teams are coming in here. They got like 2-week preseason. The weather's crummy. It's getting better now, but sometimes the weather's really cold and crummy. Like, you just don't know what you got. Yeah, and you don't know what anyone's got, and teams are going to upset other teams, and it's going to happen. And like you said, have conviction in the teams you believe are the best teams. Mm-hmm. That's how I vote. That's how you vote.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see.
And there's certain teams that don't get votes.
Yep.
But other teams get very high votes. I will tell you that a voter voted St. Paul number 2. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
That same voter didn't vote for Southington at all. Difficult for me to
and the benefit is we get something to talk about each week. So hooray for us.
I do love that. And 4 teams got voted first place votes, which is also going to happen this time of year. But go on GameTimeCT. You can check out the poll. We also posted our top performers from the first week and our games to watch coming up. We got some good games coming up. But go on GameTimeCT and check all that stuff out. But right now we're going to get to Stan Switala. I am really excited to talk to this guy. In his first season last year, obviously the situation with Charles Lembo, Coach Lembo got sick, and Switala was supposed to be there to be the pitching coach, ended up taking over the program and brought them to a state final. And we're going to ask the coach, what does Southington have to do to win a state final? Because they've been in a bunch now. Wow. What do they have to do to win? But we're going to get to that interview with Coach Stan Switala right now. We are joined now on High and Tight by Southington coach Stan Switala. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Great to be here, man. I watched you guys last year. I watched you last week, so I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, you took over a really good program up there in Southington. You guys made it to the state finals last year. What do you got to do to get over that hump for Southington? You guys have made a few state finals here in the last, 5 or 6 years.
That's what I hear. I mean, it's only year 2 for me, so I'm still getting used to the whole Connecticut high school baseball, LLL, MS, all this other type of stuff. For us, man, it's really just taking it game by game. I mean, we're trying not to overlook anything. We're trying to play, we played Hall yesterday, really good team Hall. Let's get through Hall, and then let's worry about the next team. We got Glastonbury tomorrow. So just taking it game by game. Hopefully we can get to that state final again and turn it around from 1999, I guess.
Yeah, you took over for a legend there in Lembo. What was that process like, and how have you found the transition over the last 2 years?
Yeah, so you guys know, I've been in California the last 18 years or so. Coaching high school out there. My wife and I were both retired law enforcement. We wanted to come back to the East Coast. I grew up in Long Island, and we picked Connecticut. Talked to a couple, high school coaches out here, and Coach Lembo was great. I mean, just a great fit. I was going to be his pitching coach, and just kind of ease into the whole Southington, Connecticut thing. Unfortunately, the way it happened, not a great situation at all. It was really tough. He was a great guy. I talked to him all the time. We used to talk 3 or 4 hours in California. And he's like, you need to come to Southington. This is where you need to go. He loves Southington. And I love it. It's a great town. It's a great baseball town. So that's kind of how we got here. We bought a house, online, sight unseen, brand new house. And I showed up and I told my wife, I hope I like this house, because if I don't like it, like, we're selling it and moving somewhere else. But I got there, and it's great. The town's great. I mean, you guys know it's a great sports town. It's a great town. So, I'm really happy to be the coach there. I'm lucky to get the job.
Yeah, you said you were in California for the last 18 years. You grew up on the East Coast, Long Island guy. What has been the biggest, maybe adjustment or something, like, not a surprise, but a biggest, you're obviously still learning how it works in Connecticut, like you said, with the double L's and stuff. What has been maybe the biggest surprise of coaching here that you're like, that's a lot different than California?
Yeah. The biggest thing here is everything is like rushed so much. Like, you start the season, there's really no off-season workouts. You can't work with your players. The CIAC has so many rules that you can't do this, you can't do that. California, it's just a lot more, I would say, flexible. And the season starts January 30th, and then you can wait a few weeks. We do tryouts out here, and then like a week later you're into games. So just trying to get your kids prepared is probably the biggest thing, because we don't have that much time to prepare them for games. And that's kind of like the biggest thing for me is like, how do we get these guys ready in such a short amount of time?
Yeah. Are you allowed to coach them in California off season? Sorry.
Yeah, there's no restriction.
And then it seems obvious, but what are the benefits of that? Being able to work with your kids year round.
Yeah, I mean, and I didn't coach them, in travel ball or anything like that, but we did off-season workouts, when the summer came, like one day a week we had pitchers come, the next day we would have infielders come, and the next day we would have hitters come. So like 3 days a week we would work with the guys. So, I mean, it's getting used to the new freshmen coming in. It's getting used to the guys coming up from JV to varsity, learning your system. We would do some classroom work and work on our signs. So it's a big advantage. I mean, the time you get to the season, you're kind of ready to go, for the most part. And out here, it's difficult. It's difficult. And I complain to my assistant coach, Joe Stamilio, all the time, like, what's going on? Like, why aren't we stepping up in Connecticut right now? And being able to at least work, maybe not year round, but maybe, a month or two earlier. The game season shorter. There's only 20 games out here. I was hoping it would be 24 to 28. It'd be nice to see them kind of extend games, because I think 20 games is so fast. I mean, I have my 5th game coming up tomorrow, and I'm 25% done with my season.
Oh, just wait till we get a rainy spring. Then you'll be playing, we had a team a couple of years ago, Lewis Mills. They played 15 games in 17 days because of rain.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets crazy. It's a sprint here. And you talk to some coaches around the state who've been doing this a while. Like, April's like a feeling out period. It's like, all we got to do is get to 8 wins. All you got to do is get to 8 to get to the state. So some schools programs use it as kind of like a feeling out period if they have like a lot of new guys. It's very fascinating to watch, because obviously teams get better as the year goes, or they get better, they get worse, they change, but there's very few teams that go 100% in April and they're playing, at Palmer Field in June, you know?
Right, you're right. Yeah, there's some differences too. There's definitely big differences, and you're moving guys up from JV to varsity. Like they're up and down, up and down, up and down. I'm trying to get the right fit because it's tough. Who's that right guy? And really, like you think about it, you go with like who's hot right now. You have 20 games to get it done. You got 20 games to get the best record and try to get that one of those top seedings. And it's quick. It moves quick.
Yeah, and then it's a 1-game playoff.
It's a 1-game playoff, which is tough. And there's a lot of good teams here with a lot of good arms.
How do you look at the positions when you come in? I mean, you obviously graduate certain spots. Like I might need a right fielder, I might need a second baseman, whatever it is. Is every position open for competition when you come in, or have you kind of have an idea at least where you want guys?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, there was about three players returning. As I had some sophomores up last year, which I guess is like unheard of in Southington, right?
For a double L, yeah.
Thank God we went to the state final and I got the job. But yeah, because you can hear it. But I mean, for us, like, listen, the best players play. It is what it is. If we have a freshman right now that's kind of bouncing back and forth a little bit. He's a really good hitter, and he had some at bats on varsity. He's on JV right now, and he kind of bounces back. But I had 3 guys. I mean, Colin Crowley. I think he's going to be one of the best players in the state next year. I think he's that. He's great. He's a great kid. He's a great player. I think, he has a chance to be that player next year, be the Gatorade player of the year. He's that good. He's coming as a shortstop. He's going to be the shortstop for the next 2 years while I'm here, until he graduates. And we had Caden Angelo coming in, and he's going to play third base. And I had Jaden Maya playing center field, which I think Jaden Maya is one of the best players, in the CCC without a doubt. And besides that, everything was kind of open. So, we had 10 returners, and, we had 3 guaranteed spots.
I mean, it's good to have at least the guys up the middle back, right? It's where the strength of the team is. So having your shortstop and your center fielder back at least makes it a little bit easier at the beginning of the season.
Well, yeah, funny thing is Jaden Maya took over for Jackson Rizicki, who's at UNC right now. So Jaden used to play left field, and now we switched over to center. But, I told him that you're going to play center field next year. So it was good to at least have a conversation at the end of the season. Hey, get as many center field reps as you can, wherever you're playing travel ball to be ready for center field. So that stuff kind of helps.
Now, are you looking just at their stats? Like, this guy's hitting 400, so he's going to play. Or are you looking at kids like, this kid's ripping the ball, but he's hitting 200? Like, how do you weigh that? Like, and again, short season, that's really hard, right?
It is, and I'm a stat guy. I'm a big stat guy, but I'm also a guy that, I know baseball. If a guy's hitting the ball hard and he's just making hard outs, then that guy still has to stay in the lineup. But, I'm up till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning trying to put a lineup together. I got about 4 kids right now that I know who are going to hit. And then 5 through 9 right now, I'm shifting things around. Last year we weren't very consistent in the lineup. I was moving people around all the time. And that's just kind of what I do. I kind of go with the hot bat, and we move guys up. And then if you kind of cool off a little bit, either, you drop down a little bit.
Do you weigh game stuff more than like a kid who might be what I call a showcase superstar who comes in and says, hey, my exit velo is this, my pop time's this? Like, are you just looking at them in their games and in practice?
I am. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and this exit velo thing is like, hey, it's great. I tell people, you got a 100-mile-an-hour exit velo, but you're 0 for 15 right now. It doesn't do us any good in the game. But it doesn't mean you don't have the tools to get there, but you just might not be game ready right now. So that's a big thing for me. I don't go over the exit velo too much. I go with the hot bat. That's kind of really what it is. And who can hit in games? There's a lot of kids right now that struggle in games. Kids can't hit curveballs. I noticed the biggest piece, I think you guys asked me before, a lot of guys in Connecticut throw a lot of curveballs. There's you have a group of high-end pitchers, but you have a lot of guys that are like 75 to 78 miles an hour, kind of, average high school fastballs, that if you have a good curveball in Connecticut, you're doing extremely well. And guys can't hit curveballs. That's the biggest piece. That's the biggest piece I've kind of learned. But
yeah, they made a movie about it with Clint Eastwood. Right, trouble with the curve. All right, that's my one terrible joke. Wasn't that good of a movie? Either.
It was a good movie. Good movie. Coach, I thought it was good.
Not one of Clint Eastwood's best. Not a fan of Justin Timberlake as an actor. Let's just say that. But Coach, the CCC, one of the biggest conferences in the state, and for those listening, we've buried the hatchet on this is peacetime with Pete and the CCC, but it is the biggest conference in the state. There are a lot of teams, and it's spread out each sport's kind of different, the way that they kind of split up the divisions and the standings and all that kind of fun stuff. But I'm looking at your schedule, and you guys have seemed to have drawn all the big dogs this year, which I think's great, for Southington, one of the premier programs. Like Maloney went to the state finals last year. Glastonbury's always good. Windsor, Berlin's been to a handful of state finals. You got East Catholic on the schedule. Newington towards the end of the year. Northwest Catholic's a good team. But what have you learned about, kind of maybe the state where it's like, not every conference is the same here. You got the SEC, you got the SEC, the SWC, it's all kind of different.
Yeah, it's tough. Like I said, I'm just kind of getting used to it. I always hear, when I first moved here, I heard FCAC, I heard SEC. And, the CCC, I guess, didn't get as much love as maybe, they deserve, because there are some good teams in that conference. I mean, Glastonbury's good. I mean, Newington was good last year. Hall's good. Connor, I mean, there's good teams. I mean, for us, I was just talking about 80. My schedule is kind of loaded. I mean, we have a pretty tough schedule. But the CCC is a very good conference, I think. I haven't been here long enough to see the other conferences, but, I know the FCAC and the SEC, they got some big time power arms. And I think the difference that I've learned in year number 2 now is they got some guys that can throw it. And I think the velocity, in the CCC is a little bit less, to be honest with you. And I think the FCAC and the SEC has those power arms, which is tough, because when you go to the state playoffs and you haven't seen that many power arms, going into the state playoffs. I mean, you see 90 plus out here. I mean, you could be in trouble. Bats aren't ready for that stuff at times,
Yeah.
How do you adjust when your kids are geared for 85 and then you're seeing 92? I mean, it seems like not much, but it's a lot, right?
It is. I mean, it's funny. We played Maloney and the lefty they had on the mound,
Duffy.
really good pitcher. He was 80. Yeah, Duffy, 84 to 86. And we were behind. Beginning of the year, we were behind. Good pitcher. We weren't prepared. Because we weren't ready for the velocity so quick. And like I said, we're seeing a lot of 75s to 78s. So when you even go from 75 to 78, now you're seeing 90 to 92. I mean, big jump. The way we prepare, I mean, we do some pitching machine stuff. We bring it up close. We try to ramp it up as much as we can to get, kids don't love hitting off the pitching machine, but it's really the only way to go. The normal BP of just kind of lobbing it in 45, 50 miles an hour is great. But it doesn't help you really with high velo.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this: best year of my baseball career was second grade off the pitching machines. So I was a fan.
That's good.
I always hated the machines. I could never pick the ball up. I couldn't pick it up. Like I just couldn't do it.
It's tough. It's tough. And we just used it the other day, before the Cheshire game. We used the machine, we wanted to, kind of, get a little bit of speed going up there. So, it's been working for us lately. So
I'll tell you,
do you find the kids do? Go ahead, Pete.
I was going to say a couple of years ago, when teams were trying to prepare for Mazzucato, and they weren't using the pitching machine to try and catch up to his fastball. They were like trying to make the pitching machine throw his curveball, because that was the only way that they were ever going to replicate it. Because the thing, I mean, it was, I don't know what the exact grade was, but Keith Law had it at like the best curveball in the draft. And like, how do you try and replicate that? And I was talking to coaches, they're like, we're like trying to throw it in the dirt. We're trying. One coach was like, we use a pitching machine. I have no idea if it's going to work, but we got to try something.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. We do the best you can with what you got.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Coach, what do you follow your kids in the, I've kind of asked you this before, but do you follow them in the off season where they're playing? I know they're spread out all over the place, but since you can't be with them, are you watching them in AAU and the summer ball and the club ball, or do you just wait for them to come in? I mean,
no, I kept track all summer.
Yeah.
I did go to games. I went to the local games. I mean, I coach, myself, travel ball at the younger age for my son. But I do follow, I do keep in touch with them. The big thing I actually keep in touch with is pitch counts. When we left last year, I told, certain players that, we're going to be coming back, be high end guys for us. Hey, 75 to 85 pitches max, in the week, don't go over that. So I did track a lot of pitches, and sometimes, they didn't follow directions. And I reached out to the summer coaches that I know, or the owners, and said, hey, we're trying to save these guys' arms. I don't know if you guys, I'm a big arm care guy.
Yeah.
I am very, very strict on pitch counts. I mean, our guys right now are going 55, 60 pitches max, and I pull them. We're trying to get to that end run, and we don't want to be tired at the end. Vince Borghese, big arm for us last year, right? He's going to post right now. He's a big arm. He kind of got a little tired in that state championship game. We kind of used him towards the end, because we needed to, rely on him. But in the beginning of the season, I didn't throw him that much. Like 55, 60 pitches. I try to build them up slowly and try to get our bullpen to go to save these guys. So, but in the long run, yeah, I do follow these guys over the summer and the fall. I watch their pitch counts. I try to look at stats as much as possible. I tell the guys, hey, listen, you're probably going to play some first base this year. Can you get some reps over there? So I try to use these guys, in travel baseball to, hopefully they can get us ready for high school, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. That big thing with the pitch count, and that's kind of why the rule is there, because for every coach like you, and I know a bunch who are very cautious of arm care and this, like there's a lot of summer travel coaches that you don't really know, and you don't know what they're going to be throwing and how often they're going to be throwing. And, kids, they're young, they're teenagers. They don't want to say no. They want the ball. They want to be there for their friends and their team when, if you take a wider view out, it's like, hey, you have a long road. Yep. You have a future. It's not all about this one game in, July.
That's a big thing. And I tell these guys, I don't want to get these guys started. A lot of my guys at Southington, they're going to play college baseball. Yep. Like, you know what I mean? So we're trying to get them in a good arm care program too. We try to get them stretching routines. I noticed that, guys, they don't even the starting pitchers, they don't have a great routine. They're in the travel ball showcase circuit right now where they're getting 15 to 20 minutes, if that, to kind of get ready. So we're getting these guys on a 45-minute to an hour routine before the game to learn how to stretch the right way, to learn how to warm up the right way, and get on the mound. So, I wish a lot of stuff was kind of done before they got to high school, but, that's part of being a high school coach is, getting these guys ready and fixing things that they haven't learned over the years.
Every case is different. Obviously, every kid is different, but do you prefer a winter throwing schedule, fall ball, sort of no breaks from baseball, or do you want them like playing football and playing soccer and playing basketball and maybe putting the ball down for a few months?
Yeah, so I'm a big guy that 120 days. I like guys not to throw a baseball. I'm a big guy. I follow Dr. Andrews, pretty highly, and he's a guy put the baseball down. If Dr. Andrews says put the baseball down, I'm listening to that guy.
Yeah, he knows, right?
He knows. I'm not into, the weighted baseballs and things like that. Just, it's not my thing. I'm not saying it's wrong or, it's just not my thing. But I like the guys to put the balls down. We got guys that play football. That's okay. Thing with football is the weightlifting's a little bit different. Those guys are all max effort, and baseball, we're trying not to go into max effort, but, we work well with the coaches and that kind of works out. But yeah, we want the guys to put the ball down. We don't have those guys start throwing until February 1st. So we kind of shut them down. And again, we're working with travel ball, they go as long as they go. So, kind of at the mercy of some guys, but yeah, if they could put the ball down, that's kind of what we like to do. We have basketball guys too, which is great. No problem.
I don't know if you're as old as me, but when I played, they told us not to lift weights for baseball at all. Obviously that's not true anymore. So you guys put your kids on a lifting regimen, the kids that are not in football?
We do. So we start our program November 1st. We do our weightlifting and conditioning. Big thing for us is high reps, light weights. We do a lot of plyometrics, things like that, dynamics. And that's kind of our big thing. A lot of speed exercises that we're doing in the weight room in short bursts. So we don't lift heavy weights. We lift light weights. But yeah, we're in the off season, a couple days a week from November until we start.
How old's your son, by the way?
He's 12.
12. Okay. My kid's 11. So maybe they'll see each other out there on the field at some point.
Good to me. Sounds good.
Is he Cal Ripken Little League? What do you guys got up there?
No, he plays for the Canes, Connecticut now.
Oh, okay. Oh, so he's on the club. He's on the club teams.
Yeah, we finished Little League last year. We were at the South. We were actually we won the districts last year for South Little League, and then we went to the whatever was after districts. I forgot what's after districts.
So is he playing 60-90 now? Is he big field?
No, he's still 12U. So we got 50-70.
50-70.
Yeah, one more. This is our last season of 50-70. So yep.
50-70 is a great program, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, 50. I mean, it's just it's a distance. We play a lot of tournaments. We do a lot of perfect game events. So we go to perfect game and play a lot. We're in New Jersey. We're in Massachusetts. A lot of travel, and so high end stuff. But it's good. It's good. Yeah, I don't love coaching travel baseball, but it's okay.
It's time with your kid. That's what I always say. I'm like, it's valuable time with my kid. Like
the older he gets is another year that I don't have to coach travel baseball. So right. That's what I say.
Well,
it's a whole other world, man.
Let's circle back there. So, Coach, I found this out last week. You are a St. John the Baptist graduate, like myself, on Long Island. And we were talking about him already. So Frank Mazzucato, let's go full circle here. So Frank Mazzucato, East Catholic pitcher who's with the Columbia Fireflies, the A team in Kansas City. Their pitching coach is John Habian.
Oh,
now,
wow.
John
I didn't know
Habian, yeah. So John Habian pitched in the majors, played at St. John's, was the varsity coach when I was at St. John's, cut me twice in high school. So I told Frankie next time he talks,
smart
yeah,
coach.
Oh, very smart coach, great coach. But I told Frankie the next time he sees him, he's got to ask him why he cut me twice, because I was a real good team guy. No, but I'm kidding. But I just find it funny, you know, Frankie's thrown for, you know, my varsity baseball coach, and where, you know, obviously you're a St. John's guy. You played high school, I believe, with my athletic director, Ralph Dalton, correct?
Yeah, I played 1 year with Ralph Dalton, JV, and then when I went to varsity as a sophomore, Buddy Core was my coach.
Yep.
Remember Buddy? I think the field's named after Buddy Core.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Yep.
What a wild, small world. So we got a St. John the Baptist coach in Southington. We got a Holy Trinity coach in North Haven, and Joe Romanelli. I mean, we're
he's a Trinity guy.
He's a Trinity guy. Yeah, he's a year younger than I am. So he played with a bunch of kids that I know. And they're not kids; they're full-grown adults now. But yeah, and then we got Logan O'Hoppe, the catcher for the Los Angeles Angels, St. John the Baptist guy.
I just saw that. That. Yep, that's great.
So my second baseman in high school, Casey McKay, who played at CW Post. He's the varsity coach now at St. John's. He coached Logan. So, like, this St. John the Baptist just taking over.
They are. I agree with you. I agree. And it's a great program. It's a great program.
That it's so good. I wasn't
so
good
many
enough
Long Island guys here.
Yeah, it was so good, though. That's why I didn't get to play. I was on JV, though. Oh, if I got to hear about Scott, every time we get, like, a Fairfield County guy on, Scott's like, you know, when I played for New Canaan.
The FCAC.
I got to get one. FCAC. I got one. Come on, man. We've been doing this 5 years. I finally got a Long Island connection on the show.
I think we've had more.
I'm here. It's good. It's good.
That's awesome. Scott, you got anything more, or do we want to dive into our draft?
Yeah, let's draft.
All right. So the subject of the draft this week, I think we decided on best ballpark foods. Was that correct? Is that correct? Okay, cool.
After seeing your Twitter, I wanted to go best biggest pet peeves of baseball, but we went ballpark food.
Next time we'll go. I'm verified now. It's all good, Scott. It's all
good. All right. So,
but yeah, Coach, by the way, messy dugout near the top. So that.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
All right, what do you got, Pete?
All right, so Coach, since you are the guest, you will go first. I'm going to go second in the randomizer. Scott, you're going to go third. It's a snake draft, so we'll go Coach, Pete, Scott, Pete, Coach, and then Coach, Pete, Scott. We'll do 3 rounds since there's 3 of us. Best ballpark foods, Coach. You're up first. What do you got with the first overall pick?
For me, California, San Francisco Giants, lobster roll.
Lobster roll. Wow.
Surprise number 1 pick.
Surprise number 1 pick. Now, I love that.
Is that butter or mayo? Is it hot or cold?
Either or there. Either or.
Oh, you get both. Okay.
Your choice, what you want. Yep. San Francisco Giants, the best lobster rolls around.
Because Connecticut's a hot butter one, and Massachusetts is the cold mayo one around in New England. So
yep.
Awesome. Wow. I love that.
That's off the board. Pick. It's like Berlin football. You go to a football game, they have clam chowder. I'm like, why do you have clam chowder at a football game? Yeah. It's not my thing. I get it, but it's not my thing. All right. A lobster roll. I love a good lobster roll. You go to Lob Roll out in Montauk. That's what's up. Another Long Island pitch. But
I like it. Scott's outvoted today.
Totally outvoted by the Long Island guy.
I saw John Leguizamo there once. Very nice guy. All right. With the second overall pick, I'm gonna go with the classic. I'm gonna go with the hot dog. I mean, you're gonna find no one in the state that loves hot dogs as much as I do. And when you go to Palmer Field, when I'm there for the championships, Scott could account, I ate about 8. We had a contest one year. I had a stomach ache. It was great. But I'm gonna go hot dogs. It's a staple. Scott, you get back to back.
Yeah, my first pick is peanuts in a shell, because you can just kind of sit there and work them over the whole game, right? You get a bag of them, they last for a while, you make a little pile underneath you. I like peanuts in a shell. I'm a big sunflower seed guy too, but you need a cup if you're at a game, because you can't be just spitting everywhere. So if I'm standing somewhere like at my kids' game, sunflower seeds, but in a stadium, peanuts in a shell. And then I'm taking one of yours, Pete, giant pretzel. The giant warm soft pretzel, those are awesome. I know. Sorry, Pete.
You're breaking my heart. That was my second round pick. You stole it right from me.
I know. I knew I was stealing it from you.
Yeah, I was going to get that one too, Second. Thanks, Scott.
All right. With my second pick, I am going to go with Cracker Jacks. I'm really bad. I got like not teeth problems. I had braces for like 6 years. I've had a lot of work done, so I can't really have them anymore because they're so sticky, but I just love it. You get in there, you got the peanuts and the Cracker Jacks, and then they have the little gift. I mean, I'm 33 years old. I still love looking at whatever the gift is in the Cracker Jack box. And I'll probably leave it on the floor or in the bag, but at that moment, I'm like, wow, it's like I just got a toy. And then I just no idea where it goes. But I'm going to go with Cracker Jacks. Coach, you got back-to-back. What do you got?
So I'm going to go with French fries. I'm going to go with French fries first, and then I'm going to go with nachos second.
Cheese, jalapenos. What do we get on our nachos here?
You know what? We're gonna go nachos with cheese with a little bit light jalapeno. I can't do too many jalapenos, but I like to have it every once in a while. I like to have a jalapeno. So yes.
Are they in a batting helmet?
No, I don't want a batting helmet. I don't want like a big crate or something like a big. I don't want a helmet though. I don't like the little helmets. They get too messy for me.
And San Fran, are those garlic fries or regular fries?
Either or, but they do garlic fries. But I like the regular fries.
Okay.
And I'm a Yankee fan too. Just so you know, I'm a Yankee fan, not a Giant fan. I got to clear that up for the record. I'm a Yankee.
Man,
I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah, you are just getting outvoted all day.
I'm getting outvoted all day.
Of course he is. Yeah.
Well, Scott's had the last laugh the last couple of years. So, all right, with my final one, and you talk about the helmet, I'm not going to pick them. I just got to bring up Dippin' Dots. I mean, when they came out in the little helmets, I mean, that was revolutionary. Future of ice cream. That's what they said.
I've never had Dippin' Dots. Never had Dippin' Dots.
Really?
Oh, wow.
No.
Dippin' Dots are good.
I don't eat ice cream at the games. My kids do, but I don't eat ice cream at the games.
All right, just grab an extra spoon. Make sure, when you take Sammy to Fenway, make sure he gets Dippin' Dots and then just eat them.
Okay.
Just steal them. All right. With my final pick, I just love getting these at Yankee Stadium. There's sausage and peppers. They got the nice doughy rolls. Oh, it's chef's kiss. Sausage and peppers. That's the way to go for me personally. And Scott, you got the last one. Round us out with a really good selection. No pressure.
Oh, man. I mean, I covered the only things I really ever eat are the hot dogs, pretzels, and peanuts. But occasionally, if you get to a place that has a good burger, I'll go with a good burger sometimes too, especially at some of the high schools. So a burger, I'll go with a cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger's a good
my
pick.
Final pick. Yeah, that's it. I get one last pick. That's it.
That's it. We only did 3 rounds.
That's probably enough.
Yeah, well, I will say, and I don't know if you guys have been up to Hartford for a Yard Goats game yet. This isn't at every stadium.
Great.
But they have the Bears. They have the Bears, what is it called? Bears Grill, or I don't even know what it's called, but it's like pulled pork on the cornbread and the mac and cheese. They don't have that at every stadium, so I don't want to pick it, but that's like my go-to whenever I go there. If we keep
that's good.
When we went to the Yankee game last year or 2 years ago at Yankee Stadium, Sam got a soda, and on top of the soda was a bowl of chicken fingers like attached to the soda. Have you seen this?
Yes.
It's a horrifying conglomeration, but he was really excited about it.
It's genius, right? You eat and then you can just
it wasn't a bad idea.
It.
It wasn't bad. You didn't have to hold 2 things. You don't have to put your drink down. It was fine. Listen, Coach, thank you for having some fun with us here. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Hopefully we'll be up at games and see you in person really soon. And, we think that Southington's a pretty good team this year. So we think we'll see you in the state playoffs too.
I hope so. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Hey, Coach, appreciate it. Let's go,
Coach.
Cougars.
Yep, you got it. Talk to you soon. My new Long Island buddy.
That's right.
We are back on High and Tight. As advertised, Stan Switala was awesome.
Yep.
And as is a lot of times the case with coaches, the stuff that we didn't even record is sometimes more fun for us to even talk to the guy about. But the interview itself was great. He gave us a great perspective, and man, the Long Island stuff with you two was too much.
It's small world. I know it's too much. It's small world.
It's not
though. Too
much. I like it.
No, it's small world though. It's pretty crazy. That I was like looking into him before when we invited him on. I was like, let me find some background, this and this, and I stumbled upon his college page at Eastern Michigan, and it said high school St. John the Baptist, and I'm like, there's a lot of St. John the Baptist. So I sent him a message. I'm like, you didn't go to St. John the Baptist at West Islip. He's like, yeah, class of 97 or 98. He's like, why? I was like, class 08, baby. He had a much more successful baseball career at St. John's than I did. But no, it was cool. It's such a small world, and it was fun to get to reminisce a little bit about my Cougar days.
Yeah, and his kid's 12. My kid's 11. Maybe they'll meet on the baseball field someday.
Oh my God,
his
that would be
pretty elite.
We would have to have him on. We would have to have him on the show the week that they play, and then you guys could battle it out in like 3 years when they're in high school.
Yeah,
the show is still going.
Sam's on vacation. He's here today.
Oh, well, hopefully he listens to the show.
Noise. If you heard a basketball bouncing, I'm right next to the window, and he's literally been outside playing basketball the whole time. So I was like, "Don't bother me." So if you hear a thump through the whole podcast, that's him. That's my boy.
That's Sam. Well, yeah, it was a great interview, for sure. And,
it was a great interview.
We got to do a little fun draft.
Yeah, he surprised me with the lobster roll pick. I loved it. I like when people go out to the box. I saw a hot dog going number 1, and it was definitely a surprise. But
it fell to me too.
I mean, lobster roll is so much better than a
Can't argue.
Than a hot
Can't
dog.
argue it.
I've never had lobster roll in a game, but I love.
Maybe in San
rolls.
Francisco, you're going to a game in San Francisco. It's a little bit different than going to a game in the Bronx.
Yeah, I mean Fenway's got lobster rolls, and Fenway's got clam chowder.
Ooh.
But I've never gotten either at the game though. I
don't know if I would.
I
ever
get a hot
clam
dog, pretzel,
chowder.
and peanuts.
Yeah.
Maybe if I was there freezing on an April night, I might go get.
That's why I don't go to baseball games in April. It's too cold.
It's really not. It's not conducive to baseball. You want to clap, you got to put it down. Foul ball comes, disaster. Foul ball
chowder
comes,
everywhere.
Chowder everywhere. Total mess.
Oh man.
The hot dog I could put down or whatever,
Yeah.
But yeah, we're having a lot of fun with these coaches. We're gonna have another coach on next week. And the baseball season's going now. We're gonna both of us are gonna be at some games this week. Next week, the conference schedules really kick up as this week rolls on, and it's getting to the good part. It's also going to be like 70 degrees this week, so 75. So
can't wait. Can't wait. We've been very lucky after the first day of the season. We've been very lucky. Not going to say it, not going to jinx it, but we've been very lucky.
Very lucky, and any warm day you get in April, but I will take that all day.
Oh my God, yeah. All day.
All day.
All right, we're overtired. We're overtired.
Listen, for Pete, I'm Scott. We'll see you next week on High and Tight.
Love you all.